All right, so we're back. Uh, we are back with the Wasted Pockets Empty Checks. So in the segment, you know, today we are today I am reflecting the ever-minding loss of Charlie Kirk. You know, I mean, and like I had a litany amount of people who are saying unfollow me, unfriend me, and blah blah this and blah blah that. See, you know, the one thing I have posted, I think a few days ago, was Charlie Kirk got shot, and it was not in a good, it was not in a good way. He got shot in the neck. It's very very bad. You know, I mean, like just like it was wrong for me to celebrate. It was wrong for me to celebrate Charlie Kirk's death. You know, honestly, I think it's not good at all to celebrate someone's death. But I guess like pretty much the new, I guess pretty much the new wave and new generation is actually celebrating someone's death. Like what I think of the black community completely is that they celebrate a man's death because because a man is trying to bring out the points and bring out the rights for this generation. And black people in other communities can't really see it. You know, I mean, like now, now, what I'm now like with some points, like I believe he's wrong, and some points I believe he's right. But there's one right that Charlie Kirk. But there's one true podcast that really got my attention. To like Charlie Kirk, and honestly, I wish I was at the Charlie Kirk Florida State event. Would be a lot better. But at the same time, I was pretty much nervous and excitement and nervous and anxious and with the anxiety. So a lot of the left wing material. So like like with like with left wing, but with left wing, they I think they kind of proved like they're celebrating and they're all this stuff. Like I'm gonna give people a real good detail about why I haven't dropped that much music, why I haven't done anything. So you see, like my grandfather died, and like before the wedding. Like I was in Nigeria. I was in Nigeria. I was in Lagos, Nigeria, with my parents, like with my parents and my aunts and my cousins and my uncles and my nephews. So and so like so so when I heard like it was in Benin City. I may gotta ask my mom about this whole thing. But when I was in Benin City, I I was kind of shocked. I didn't want to ask. Like all I heard was Blessing was crying, Nathan was crying, and he came up to me saying that he said, and Nathan came up to me saying that like Uncle Jason, what would you do if that happened to you? You know. Now I may sit back and watch understand my life, but my grandfather died in last February. I haven't got a tattoo saying on here. You probably not see it here, but this is my grandpa died February 21st. It is a week before Valentine's Day. So, um, pretty much in the information, with men actually suffering and actually celebrating the death. I think, I think honestly, I think honestly, like, I mean, like, I mean, like, I think, I think more people on the left wing should actually go to church, and I think, I think me as a man should actually go to church. Honestly, you know, I haven't been to church in like over a year, like in person, but I've been to a church online. I've been to a church in I've been to a church in assisted housing. I've been to a church in PHP. So right now, right now, I don't know what to say, but I've been slowly fighting back Christ in life. So, and like this all started back in the spring of 2024. A lot of people may not understand why, but you know, um, with the whole thing and pretty much in detail about this whole thing, like, there's a statistic down in history, and there's a statistic down in history for a lot of people to really know, because we're about to look on this right now and ask ChatGPT. Is the left community, well, let me say this. Why is the left community celebrating Charlie Kirk's death? I mean, I mean, now a lot of people may ask me why I'm really actually doing this, but but this is an actual opinion of what's going on in today's society. And I mean, I listened, and recently I listened to Charlie Kirk's interview on with the ordered man Ryan Mickler. I'll probably post it down there, and I probably post down the link on YouTube. You know, and for Pete and for Charlie Kirk, um, it's a lot easier for me to actually hate on a man for celebrating for to be. Well, let me start over. Blah, blah, blah. It's easier for me to celebrate someone's death who spread hate and and bigotry. Instead, I listened to him, like what he had to say. Now, some of his points are right, some of his points are wrong, but you have to get this in picture. You know, most people who do violence are kind of like with black on black and white on white. Well, I'm not getting that detail, but the cure to male loneliness, the cure to the male loneliness is basically fighting Christ, and it's very very true. You know, like fighting Christ is definitely the most best way possible for male loneliness. Now, people may have a hard feeling about it, and people may have some things that happen somewhere, but um, none of it, none of it compares to why people are celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. And I'll tell you, and there are some people and why he's celebrating someone's death. You know, and I looked it up on ChatGPT. Why people are reacting this way? See, pull is see let me bring this here. for people to know what we're doing. And yes, this is my laptop. Got the whiskey here. So, why are some reacting this way? Political polarization and hate. Kirk was a polarizing figure. Many on the left strongly disagree with his views on LGBT issues, immigration, culture wars. For some people, grief or compassion may be mixed with anger and disgust. When someone who's seen by someone as promoting as harmful rhetoric dies, some people respond with schizophrenic, taking satisfaction in someone's downfall, especially if they believe that person did harm. Now, see, now, the most immigration, I will say, is definitely not on the black people. 'Cause right now there's like ICE and DEI and all this other stuff going on. But most Nigerian Americans are smart here in the USA. And like it's kind of reason why that like a lot of people are getting girls and stuff. Well, no, and it's not really a transgender thing or something erratic, and then like and then like and then with the culture wars. I mean like like with the culture wars, I said this on the FSU 89.7 on the WVFS 89.7 interview in Tallahassee, Florida State. If someone recorded it, someone recorded or anything, you could possibly send it to me. You can probably send it to me and text me on the Facebook Messenger, on the Facebook group chat, or stuff like that. So I can look back at it. But what I say, but what I said, like when I mean, like when there's a culture war, you have to look at the people who started this stuff. You know, one, like if you're poor, don't say anything. For me, I'm poor. I'm just now paying a phone bill, just now paying rent. See, like with that, you have to see with that, if the person is spreading hate or religious views, you have to ask them, like, why is the person doing this? Why is the person doing all this stuff to happen? And like that's where a person would spread like harmful rhetoric and stuff like that. It's a horrible thing, a horrible thing that nothing's ever pretending to happen or pretending to look. Number two, belief that his activism had negative impacts, and it says that some people believe he contributed to or enabled ideas, think that they're harmful. Extreme rhetoric, conspiracies, culture wars for people seeing removed may feel like belief. Yeah, I mean, like and I don't get it. Like I mean, like and see, like here it is, like, and I don't get with this new generation, honestly. Why can't people have? Why can't people have beliefs? You know, like society's gonna get worse and worse and worse, and the generation's gonna get coming worse. The music's getting worse. Everything is getting worse. Like people need to understand that stuff, and I can understand like why Charlie Kirk would say some of the things. But one of my goals in 2025 was to have a conversation with him. You know, and that was like, and that's really the point of that. I don't. I mean, like, if people want to hate me on that because I'm a black man, I mean, hey, I'm happy for you. Just know that I don't really care for you. And the and the reaction to the political speech and frustration. So and people are reacting this by in a Charlie political climate reaction tends to sharper, more emotional, more extreme, and it's both fear resentment. You know, I mean, like with frustration. I mean, like Charlie Kirk. I mean, like Charlie Kirk had probably his frustrations. Like people do with frustrations. You know, if you have a, I mean, if Charlie Kirk had a chance to succeed, he risked he risked the reward. Now, I'm not celebrating his death by any means or any fashion, but like when you have a success story or success stuff that happens, you know, it's going to lead to failure. Not every goal you're gonna meet is getting to the top and blah blah this and blah blah that and be like, oh my god, the world's exciting. Like, no, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work like that, man. So yeah, and also I think people may view his death as a result of a long-standing provocation. Um, kind of sad, kind of sad, kind of pain, kind of hurt. I'm kind of disgusted how like why would this had to happen? But there is something that would happen. Um, I don't know. I may not know. I don't really everything happen. And last but not least is I think there's a rhetoric that's going on, and I think it's going on in the last 5 to 10 years. Is us versus them. So like when politics become a tribal and it becomes so deep, you know, you know, there is less space for empathy towards those seen as political enemies. For example, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Caroline Levitt, RFK, you know, Jasmine Crockett, Candace Owens, you know, those people that, you probably want to go to war against. But but what can you do? You know, the truth is you probably don't have anything ever and never will have. And the reason why that is because for one, for sure, you're probably living your life living paycheck to paycheck in a dead end job, but you're probably not working right now. Most jobs are not having to work to actually to accomplish anything and stuff like that in life. So, just like honestly, like this is what I will honestly think of. I've, I mean, let me take that back. This is honestly what I think, honestly. Like I think the, like in my opinion, I think that men are the enemy, including me. Like men are the enemy. You know, like I think I think grown up I think people like me and adults like me should actually take a step back and understand like what's going on in today's society. So for that, man, like I said before, it was easier for me to celebrate than to understand the life of Charlie Kirk. And the saddest part is that he has his wife and his two kids, and social media is mocking him like, "Oh my God, everything happened in this world. We're happy as fuck." I mean, just and it's sad, completely sad, man. Like I think I think the cure and the possible cure to all of the whole thing that's probably is revolving in some way, like is that we need I mean that like we need Jesus. And like we need Jesus in life you know because the way right now we are in a symbolical deep hole that no one's understanding. And it's like it's kind of like it's kind of hard to understand, but like I'll tell you my point of view. you know like last February I lost my grandfather. And I mean, like, and it was tough, and like, and it was tough. Like, and on top of that, I had two weddings after that in Nigeria. So I was based out drunk during that year. I was based out drunk in my uncle's wedding. That was a lovely time, in Nigeria, like, and you to and with Nigeria, you could check out my vlog, check out the videos I did in Nigeria with the music videos that I done. Shout out to Draven and the rest of the boys. So, I mean, that's really the life that we're. So yes, like that's really had an effect with my grandfather. You, you know, because like my grandfather was the one that helped me to make music, and it really sucks that honestly, like, you lose a loved one that you really care about, and it really stings you in the ass. I don't know that will explain to somebody like that or anything in the world or whatever that could have like that could have possibly done. You know. Oh, by the way, I do not live in Tallahassee. I live in Pompano. I probably stop lying to myself. Anyway, um, you know, like I think I'll probably pop a word for people who actually celebrate who actually mock someone's death. And I'm typing GPT. So, you know, if you have a Bible, I am reading the new international version, and like, and I've like and I read Job in the beginning of 2025 during my nihilism. So for Job 29:30, it says, "If I have rejoiced at my enemy's misfortune or gloated over the trouble that came to him, I may have not allowed my mouth to sin by invoking a care against their life." Now, invoking means provoking, means like you're provoking the man's wife, you're provoking the man's kids, and you're provoking the man's business. So, like when you actually celebrate a man's death, you're probably looking at yourself as the mirror of rejection and denial and betrayal. So so that's my 2 cents of why I was in the mode of losing, in the mode. But anyway, in real life, probably say this. I should probably say this, but like the way um is to get through is in life. The way to get through in life is being is like doing what you can, doing what you do, and staying out of trouble. Pray to God, go to church, go to Bible studies, go to your Bible study groups, and pray literally every single day. Because sometimes you may not know what's going on through people's lives. So, yeah. So, like, I would say that the 20% and the 30%, the I would say like the 75% of males today are the enemy. So I took a deep reflection in the mirror, and I was the enemy. And that's why I should, and that's why people should actually look at themselves and say, like, why are you celebrating a man's death? Because if they are the enemy. Anyway, um I will post the Order of Man link, the Charlie Kirk interview. I mean, you should. I mean, like, I think you should all watch it. I think you should guarantee it. I think you should actually. I think it's actually worth watching. People should. I mean, people are going. I mean, like, I think honestly, like people are going to enjoy it. So that's all I gotta say. Fall more on the Wasted Checks, Pockets Empty podcast.